There was a kid on our team. I remember to this day in high school, there was a kid on our team could run like a dog. We would bear crawl, and he would just be like, he would be able to, on all fours, like, gallop. Like, it was, it was so strange. Like, I've never seen anybody else do that. Like, even the kids that were really athletic, you wouldn't see like that. Like, he was able to just, like, run on all fours.
Maybe he had lycanthropy.
Maybe. Yeah, he might have been a werewolf.
Yeah.
Werewolf in disguise. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing today, but I doubt he could still do it.
You never know. That might be his thing now.
Teaching people how to do that, or just
Sideshow
doing
circus.
It for... Oh, yeah, there you
Either
go.
that or, like, he's on the sex pages, like...
You immediately
Did you
went
just
to
say the
who's
sex
looking for the
pages?
werewolf to have sex with. I can be that guy.
He's on the sex... What are the sex pages? Is that just
like,
porn, or are you talking like...
No,
he's
like,
in the classified sex
pages. Yeah, like
pages,
the classified section of the city paper, I think.
Craigslist.
Where you would go. Yeah, Craigslist. There you go.
Man, the city paper is not the place to find love. Not that kind of love, especially.
I don't think people were looking for that in their own city paper.
I mean, I do feel like people put some weird
Any love.
shit in the
Let me-
classifieds, so like maybe there's a werewolf man looking for love out there somewhere. I don't know.
I mean, if you're using the city paper for real, for love, I mean, good for you for going out there like that, but...
I mean, I imagine there's a very, very small percentage of people that just don't use the internet or have access to a computer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
paper's the way to go.
Plus, the city paper's free. You're just walking down the street. You're like, oh, the city paper. You flip it open. You're like, hot damn, I'm circling that one. Get home and use your landline and go over and give that a ring.
Rotary
Use the
phone.
You have a collect call from...
Werewolf man. Well, that took a turn. Hello and welcome to another episode of Bright Guy and His Super Friends. I'm your host, Brian Labick. Joining me for this episode is the Tattooing Sandman, Andy Stoles.
What's up, podcast people?
And next up, he thinks Elden Ring is really wizard, Mike Bradley.
You know, I had not thought of saying it that way yet, but I feel like that's just a perfect way of saying it. Thank you.
I had to give you
Gave me a
both,
great
like
idea now.
Elden Ring reference and a Star Wars reference all in one.
That's wonderful. I love it.
All right, so I'll be honest, we weren't really going to do an episode this week. The original plan was to hopefully get together and talk about the Batman, but this week didn't work scheduling-wise, so we were like, we'll delay it. We'll do next week. And then, of course, Disney had a surprise us with the first trailer for Obi-Wan series, so here we are. So, sort of just like we did with one of the Fantastic Beasts trailers, we decided to get together for hopefully a short episode just on the trailer, but it's Star Wars, so, what we think could be a half hour could very well turn into 3. We'll see what happens. For the record, a half hour is the aim here, so we'll see where we go when we wrap up.
That's a lot of big talk before we deliver.
I know, right? I'm setting the bar, setting some promises. We'll see if we live up to them by the end of this episode.
Come on, guys, we're already wasting time.
All right, so getting into it, Disney had a shareholders meeting yesterday. During the call, they finally officially revealed the teaser trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi, which is being labeled as a limited series. So I'm guessing we are only going to get one season of this show, one and done. It will drop on Disney Plus May 25th, which marks the 45th anniversary of the original Star Wars movie. Trailer itself got me pretty hyped. I'm just kind of excited to talk about it. We're not planning on doing any scene deconstructions like we've done to other trailers before. This is more just a general sense of what we thought, maybe theories for the show, and kind of go from there. I'm going to throw out a spoiler warning just to sort of cover our ass in case we go down that road. But I think we also have to be careful because I think one of the things we'd want to talk spoilers about that probably has to tie into this show, and namely the trailer, is Star Wars Rebels. But Andy hasn't finished all of it, so we have to be careful for Andy's sake on what we're talking about and what we're not.
I think also maybe Fallen Order, which Andy hasn't finished.
True, yes. Yeah.
Ah, son of a bitch.
So, so either way, I'll throw out the spoiler warning for possible spoilers for other Star Wars related content. You have been warned, Andy especially. We'll see where we go from here.
Just tell me earmuffs. I'll take it.
Wee-oo, spoiler! Wee-oo, spoiler! You know, something like that.
All right, so spoiler warnings out of the way in case we get on that way. Again, just Andy, I know we've talked about it before. For Star Wars Rebels, how far did you get? You were at the end of season 2, I think?
I believe it was the end of season 2. The last thing that I recall was Vader versus Ahsoka with the Sith Temple, Jedi Temple falling on top of them.
Yeah, Sith Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the end of season 2, correct?
Yes, okay. All right, so we can cover some stuff there then, because I think one of the characters we see in the trailer is from season 1 of Rebels.
Oh yeah, the Inquisitor.
The Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, the one with the spinny circle lightsaber blade thing.
Yeah.
Well, I think all the Inquisitors have that, don't they?
They all seem to have
Isn't that like
that
an
weapon.
Inquisitor? Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that's just a thing they all have. Which was my question was, is this the Grand Inquisitor?
I believe it is. I think they cast... It's weird, because again, it's not Jason Isaacs, and he looks a little bit different in live action, but the armor and the paint, the paint on the face, I think is very much the Grand Inquisitor.
Okay.
He looked a little off, but I think that might just because of the animation style that they went with on Rebels. Everything was like almost like taller
Exaggerated.
and thinner. Yeah.
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 So, which is interesting for anyone that's watched season 1 of Rebels. It's like we know what happens to that guy.
What happens?
And do you not
It
remember?
happens in season 1. You have watched this.
So
I
it's like-
remember. Yeah.
But like we
Either.
know that this guy, certain things that are going to happen in the show, he either has to get called away or something because we see him later. Like,
Right.
so I don't know. Well, it's looking at the trailer, seeing certain people in it. It's like, okay, I recognize you, but I see you later. And then another person, I recognize you, but I'll see you later. Some of it just, I don't know, story wise, just kind of pulls me out of it already because I'm like, where's the tension? Because I know the fate of half of these people already.
So was that the ninth sister that we see there? Was that who that was?
I don't know because she has a mask on, right? When we see her later.
No. She's the second sister. The
Okay,
one you're
shit.
thinking of from Fallen Order, like the basically final boss of Fallen Order,
Oh,
is
okay.
the second sister.
Oh, right.
The ninth sister is an earlier boss battle in the game.
Right. Yeah, maybe it could be. I'm too afraid to look at the cast list for fear of other spoilers, so I haven't seen what characters are confirmed.
Okay.
But anyway,
It looks like that. Like,
Yeah.
the character looks the same as the ninth sister, but just
and that's just kind of fun to me because
live action.
talking to some people, like even just at work, that watched the trailer but hadn't watched any of the animated stuff, when they see the Inquisitors, they're like, who the hell are these people? And I'm like, you have no idea. Like, you need to watch some shit because... And I don't know if this is...
You have homework, sir.
Yeah. More to the point, Andy, I think, in the next 2 months, you should do some Rebels homework. See if you can get through
Definitely.
it the last 2 seasons between now and then.
It's 4, correct?
4 seasons, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how much the back half is going to play in here, but just in case.
Right.
I mean, I think there's one thing in particular that could also happen in this series that we might get a live action version of that we
It's probably
have
been
already
rumored for a
seen.
while, so we'll see.
I've heard probably the thing that happens is D-Maul versus Obi-Wan again.
That is resolved in Rebels.
That's what I'm referring to.
Yeah.
And are we going to get that in live action again?
I would think if they did it in
Or
animated
not.
form that there's no reason to do it again in live action.
I think just getting it to the wider audience that doesn't watch the animated stuff.
But I also think
Because
it goes the
if
other
there's
way.
one thing I can say, it was perfect.
Yeah.
So,
But I also think it would
I
go the
wouldn't be
other way,
opposed.
where once people realize that's the only place you have to watch it, it might push people to the show, which is, I think, what they would probably want to do, too.
I think there's a lot of Star Wars fans that are from an older generation that are just not going to go back and watch an anime.
I get that. Well, that's their own problem, that they need to get over that and watch
I
good Star Wars
understand
regardless of
that.
where it is. I will hype that for anybody listening.
I will too. But I think they may want to get that particular moment to those fans as well.
And honestly, back when Obi-Wan Kenobi was meant to be a movie, I assumed that is what the movie would be. Would be
Yeah.
Darth Maul realizing Obi-Wan's still alive, he's on Tatooine, and we would get the culmination of that resolved in the movie. And then you watch Rebels, it happens there, and now it's like, okay, well, now they're doing a series, so what the hell's the story now? Because what I thought was going to be the main hook is already done. So,
which is also confusing because of what happens in Rebels leading up to that, which we're not going to talk about. I'm not going to get into why, but
Yeah.
it is confusing as to, like, if the Inquisitors find information, it kind of makes me, like, wait. You know what I mean? Like, I think it fucks with the canon a little bit if they find information about Kenobi.
So, well, yeah, this is, yeah. And I don't know who that would get back to, because I feel like I might just spiral into theories and stuff now, but Hayden Christensen is confirmed as a cast member. The rumor is that there, people hyping up the show, people involved in the show, have talked about some sort of rematch between Obi-Wan Kenobi and, well, between Ewan and Hayden. They're not even, I don't know if they've actually said Obi-Wan and Vader.
Right.
So, which, to your point, I don't know what that does to the timeline if Vader and Obi-Wan face off in this show before they face off in episode 4.
My honest hope is for flashbacks.
That would be a way to cover it, yeah.
Because if Vader finds Obi-Wan before the events of A New Hope, what the fuck?
Half of the conversation that they have there is nullified.
It throws it throws everything off. Everything's out of whack at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to me, that's like, I'm hoping it's flashbacks. I'm hoping maybe we get a Clone Wars armored Ewan McGregor, Clone Wars styled Anakin and Ahsoka popping up all together in live action.
I would love that.
Because honestly, that's one of my favorite versions of Obi-Wan. Is the Clone Wars, like, that armor he wears that's like Jedi, but also like clone trooper, like the mixed armor.
Yeah.
I fucking love that look. So it would be really neat to see if they
go that
route.
Flashbacks I think would be awesome. I just to see those two, like Hayden and Ewan especially, just in the era of the Clone Wars cartoon doing something in live action, something that I never thought I'd see. All right, so just with the trailer, Andy, was there anything in the trailer that stuck out to you, or anything that you liked, didn't like?
Yeah, I really liked it, and it was the first score that you hear is actually the Battle of the Heroes, except super slowed down. And I really fucking dug it.
It's like somber. It gives the era of defeat.
It does, and it's really cool. And then as you sort of see a few scenes, it just sort of like hops right into Duel of Fates, and I'm like, I even looked over at Jess, and I'm like, Duel of Fates, and she's like, what?
That music still slaps. And
I think that highlights something that came out about the series recently, was that John Williams is actually scoring the series.
Oh, nice.
I thought he was doing the theme and not the whole series.
Oh, I didn't read further. I thought I just saw they signed John, like they got John Williams to do music for it. I assumed it was the whole thing.
I thought it was like he did with Solo, where he does the theme for Solo, but not the whole score. I thought it was one of those things. Yeah, fine. Yeah, any more John Williams Star Wars music is fine with me.
Right. That and Duel of the Fates popping up, instantly to me, I was like, oh god, what are they gonna do with Maul? Because that Duel of the Fates just rings out Maul to me. Like, I associate that with the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Maul scene.
Yeah.
Primarily in my head, So
you brought up Qui-Gon Jinn, and I'm wondering if we don't get a Force Ghost Liam Neeson.
I am so hoping for that.
That would be so badass.
I have not seen him on a confirmed cast list just like cast announcements. Like, hey,
but you're not looking for it either.
Correct. But I mean, like casting announcements that are officially announced. If someone said, "Hey, Liam Neeson," like if it was hitting the trades as Liam Neeson is back in Obi-Wan Kenobi, that I would see. I'm not going to go looking for the cast list, but the headlines I'd probably see.
They might have this hush hush.
Which
I feel like they would keep that secret.
Yeah, I think that is a surprise worthy of saving it for the show. So I'd love to see that just pop up. I'm totally here for it.
Yeah, that would be super BA.
Anything else stand out for you for the trailer? I like even just actually going back to the music. They hit like all the great prequel themes in this one trailer. It opens with Battle of the Heroes. You get Duel of the Fates. It ends with Anakin's Dark Deeds, which is another fucking awesome song.
Yeah.
There is one that they couldn't have hit that wouldn't have made sense that I personally love.
Yeah.
Well, that one's good too, but I was going to say the Droid Invasion.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Is another one that it wouldn't make sense here.
Yeah, because all the droids are gone.
But I love that one from the prequels. That's one of my favorites.
I can't wait for like this show to come out and then suddenly everyone's raving about the prequels. Like, they're going to turn it around and be like, oh my God, Hayden was the best like, like all this crap about all the hate that these movies got back then.
Again, to be fair about the prequels, I have to be transparent. I have never had the hate for Phantom Menace or Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith, I don't think ever was hated.
Yeah.
There's a couple of lines in it that are kind of stale, but I don't think there's much hate for that. It's been one of my favorites the whole time.
Yeah. Phantom
Menace also has been. It's Attack of the Clones that really drags that trilogy down. But I grew up as a teenager with those movies, and I have probably watched those three more than any of the others.
Really? Okay.
If I had to guess, just because it was one of those things like I had access to them, and they were some of the first movies I ever had on DVD.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to rewind, and it was great.
That's right. Phantom Menace was the first one to hit DVD.
Yeah.
It hit before any other Star Wars movies. I do remember that.
And with the other ones, I had parents at the time where it was like, oh, I want to get these ones on DVD. And it was like, no, you have that original trilogy on VHS. You're not getting another version of it. You fight with your parents over shit like that when you don't have any money for yourself, of course, because, you're a kid. It became something where I would just rewatch them. It was that kind of thing. And they have a place in my heart, even though I recognize their failures. I recognize their problems, but they still have that special place.
Yeah.
Just like the original trilogy and just like the sequel trilogy, but I guess that prequel trilogy just has that different aspect to it, where I was alive when this happened.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different.
Andy, anything stand out to you? Anything else you want to touch on?
I also thought it was I guess I always just assumed that when he takes Luke to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, that he is literally a hermit after that on Tatooine, doesn't leave, squirrels himself away, and in this trailer we see him presumably on other planets.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of a shock, and I'm sort of curious how they're going to, tether him, more or less, to a shack outside of Tatooine.
So that was my thought, too, is, what... Because they promoted it this way, it's, Obi-Wan's going to go some places. He's got missions of his own to do, and it's I thought he had one mission, and it was on Tatooine. What else could he be doing? And I guess my thought process was always, okay, he's protecting Luke, because eventually someone's going to find out who Luke is and try to go after Luke, and Obi-Wan has to protect him. But I think the trailer spins it the opposite way, which I didn't really think of, was that people are getting close to Luke because they're finding clues to Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. So in order to leave people away from Luke, he has to go somewhere else to make the trail follow him off-world.
And he may also need to check on Leia. Because as far as we know, she's just left with Bail Organa.
Yeah.
And, I mean, no offense to Bail Organa, but he's not a Jedi. He's just a dude,
But he seems like a really well-to-do dude, so I think she's probably going to be okay.
Surrounded by her honor guard the whole time.
Yeah, she's
I get that, but it's also oh no, I get that, but it's also he's just he's not anything exceptional beyond that, though. He doesn't.
But he can afford
just checking up on her.
He can afford some exceptionality there.
I just mean just some checking up. Maybe not intervening, just checking up from afar. Does that make sense?
So
maybe we see interaction with Bail, but not directly with Leia.
Okay, maybe
he talks to Bail, he goes to meet Bail somewhere, and discuss how's Leia doing, like what's happening, blah blah blah.
Well, the other thing I'd worry, just picking up the story thread of like, hey, Obi-Wan's leaving a trail that people are following. If he's in constant contact with Bail, I feel like that would lead the trail to Bail. It's probably not something
I
he
don't
would
mean
want to do.
constant contact. I just mean like a contact,
Okay, maybe.
or
Maybe like
something.
like a hologram conversation with
Yeah.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
Space FaceTime. Mike, what did you think of the trailer? Anything stand out to you?
Again, we talked about the music, but particularly, see, this is where I don't want to. I guess you guys talked about the Book of Boba Fett already,
Yes.
and I mean, I am interested to see whether or not Cal Kestis shows up here.
Oh yeah.
We see hints in the Book of Boba Fett that he might be somewhere around Tatooine, or was.
Is
at
it just
some
because of the
point.
droid?
Yeah.
My immediate thought was, oh, it's that guy's droid, but then you start thinking like, there's a bunch of droids in the world that look the same.
She calls it BD.
Yeah, it's a BD type droid, just like R2 is an R2 unit.
Yeah, but
I don't think it's
know,
the one
like,
you're thinking of. I think it's a model just like that one, but I don't think it's his.
See, I took it as the impression that it was his. But I still think, given the scenario that we're seeing, the relation to, the sisters and the Inquisitors and whatnot that we're seeing in the trailer.
Well, what was the timeline for Fallen Order? I don't remember.
Fallen Order was like almost immediately
After Order 66.
following. Yeah, like it was.
So it's before this. Okay.
It
This
would have
is supposed to be
started
like
before
10
this,
years
yes.
after Revenge of the Sith. So it's at the midway point between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, somewhere in there.
They put it that far out? That's surprising.
That's what I thought I heard was 10 years.
Okay. But that still leaves the door open.
Yeah.
And I think like that little introduction of a BD unit that we have never seen in live action anywhere until then, I think gives us, I guess, some interest as to whether or not we see Cal.
It'll be interesting because like,
And they're gonna want to promo the second game, and they're gonna there's.
well,
I
it's
think
like
there's reasons why they might include his presence.
something like even with Boba Fett, like I would have thought, okay, we're gonna get a show based on this character. It's gonna follow pretty closely to this character, and then we get straight up Mandalorian episodes in Boba Fett. So
Yeah.
this is an Obi-Wan show. I kind of want to say it's just going to focus on Obi-Wan, and we're not going to get that many Easter egg side character things like that. But they've done it before, so I don't know.
Yep.
But the fact that this is literally labeled as a limited series, which means I don't know how much Obi-Wan we're going to get, how much Ewan Obi-Wan we're going to get after this. So if this is a one and done series for him, and this is him hanging up the cloak after this and done with the role, I don't think they'd want to distract us with too much other stuff. I think it's really going to be an Obi-Wan centric show.
Okay. I hope that's the case. Like, I really do want it to be that. I want as much as we can get out of Ewan before he decides to be done with it.
I'm hoping like, ideally he gets a taste of it and be like, yeah, you want to be more Obi-Wan? I'm game. Let's do it. Let's do it some more.
Yeah, I would love to see some live action, like, Clone Wars stuff pop up just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're older and it wouldn't look right. I don't care. Just do it.
I mean, they've done Luke, deep fake stuff. So I really think anything's possible right now. If they want to de-age anybody, just throw them in there and fix their face.
I guess that's a question I have. Is Mark Hamill actually there acting that out, or is
No.
that just pure? Like, there's no, like, it's just his voice.
He I think we talked about this when we recorded. He is credited as the actor in that episode. I don't think he had anything to do with that episode. They used his likeness and a recording of his voice, and they have to credit him. I don't think he had anything to do with those episodes.
You
I don't
think
think
they just imitated the voice?
I don't even think they re-recorded like I don't think he recorded new lines. I think from what I read was that they have some sort of tech where they have enough recorded dialogue from Mark Hamill that they can basically make him say whatever the fuck they want to now.
Wow.
That's creepy.
But he probably
Yeah.
still had to get paid.
I'm sure he
his
signed
likeness.
off on like, yeah, it's cool to use my likeness, but is knowing George Lucas and the way he merchandises shit, is that a contract that Mark Hamill signed in the 70s that is still good today? Or like he signed away his likeness for toys. So does that contract
Yeah.
continue? Does that spill over into other live action stuff and other Star Wars content, or is it just merchandising stuff? Like I don't know where the line ends there, but
That's all too confusing.
yeah,
But I think it'll be interesting here. I guess my other take from the trailer is they give us a peek at what Luke looks like
yeah,
as a kid. We get like you don't really get to see, but you get a peek at like
pod racing.
him yeah. And I'm like, pod racing, I am up for some more pod racing.
Oh yeah,
If we can get to
Yeah.
see that again, I'm 100% in for that. That'll be amazing.
yeah. It's the one thing that's awesome from the episode 1 that has not been replayed anywhere other than video games. Like they've done it in video games, but
Even then, it was video games like at the time.
yeah,
Have they redone it like in video games recently? No.
no, yeah,
I would love that too.
yeah.
But that's a niche crowd. That's there's not many people. I don't think that would sell as well as it maybe did then. I don't know that it sold well then.
So here's a question for you guys, and just I feel like they're promoting images this way, but I'm not sure how much we'll see of it or if it happens. But on record, do you think Obi-Wan's going to use his lightsaber in this series? Just putting up the flag that he's a Jedi, just waving it around everywhere. Do you think he'll actually ignite a lightsaber?
Not knowing how the story goes, I don't know.
I could
'Cause
see
I
it in
feel like he could
flashbacks. If they
use
do
it-
flashbacks, yes,
Well,
hands
yeah,
down.
that.
Present
Of course,
day,
flashbacks for sure.
I don't know.
I feel like if somebody finds him in an isolated incident, you know what I mean? Like somebody finds him in a cave in Tatooine.
Yeah,
There's no harm in it.
As
But
long as
I
he-
feel like,
Ends things, yeah.
yeah,
no
which,
witnesses.
I mean, to
This
be
is the
fair,
Jedi
he
way.
is Obi-Wan Kenobi, which a lot of people underestimate Obi-Wan as a Jedi, I guess, because they don't think about it thoroughly. Obi-Wan's probably the most powerful Jedi that we see, just in terms of what we see him actually accomplish.
He's up there, yeah, for sure.
So if he pulls out the lightsaber, he's gonna finish things.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he didn't once.
To his credit, he thought he did.
Yeah,
He was
like,
pretty damn sure he's gonna burn alive.
He just didn't throw the rock on the horse's head. That's all, like he did everything else. That was not a mistaken Jedi power. That was a mistaken judgment.
So that's another question too. Is from a story's perspective, does Obi-Wan Kenobi know that Anakin Skywalker is alive at this point in the story?
It's a good question.
Oh, he might not know he's Vader yet.
So that's what I was trying to think. Like in Episode 3, does Obi-Wan ever hear Anakin referred to as Darth Vader?
No.
And I think there's one instance. When he watches the security hologram of Anakin killing everybody, it ends with the Emperor saying, "Rise, Lord Vader." And that's when Anakin, like he sees him being almost like knighted. I think that's the only
Right,
instance I
okay.
can think of. So theoretically, if he connects the dots and starts hearing rumblings of someone called Darth Vader in the galaxy, maybe he does piece it together.
So wait,
Yeah.
he sees the knighting? I don't think that was on video.
No, there's the
Was it
hologram
Yoda
that
saw
they
that, or was it just him?
I
Or,
think-
like,
I-
did Yoda see it, or did Yoda not share that with him?
they were both there.
I know they were both there, but I'm saying like Yoda told him not to look at it.
Right, and then he
Like,
turns it on anyway and watches it.
Okay. Well, I guess my confusion is like Ahsoka would be the one that would also know. I guess like whether she knows or not. And we see at the end of that season 2 of the Clone Wars is like she pretty much knew, but it was the confirmation that she gets there at
Right.
the end of season 2 that's, that moment of
For Rebels, you said Clone Wars. You meant for Rebels.
sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Ahsoka. Sorry. But I think when she gets that moment of clarity that, or I guess it's not a moment of clarity, it's just like the realization that, yep, that's definitely, you can't deny it anymore. It's
Right.
Anakin. I think that was a powerful moment because she didn't want to believe it, but she knew anyways.
And I think that'd be a fun...
Does he go through the same thing?
Right, and I think that'd be a fun arc for Obi-Wan to go through in the series, is either being aware and completely denying it, and then trying to, get to the bottom of it, or just finding out and not knowing. I think would be, like, how does he deal with that? I think would be a fun thing to see. Well, not fun, like depressing and sad, but makes goods for TV.
We
excellent television.
we sort of see him go through that once already in Revenge of the Sith.
Right, but he thinks he did the deed, right? He thinks Anakin's dead.
It's over.
Right, but he's basically going to relive that whole, like, my brother has betrayed the cause, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. Like, he knows that, like, Anakin swore to Palpatine, and he knows that he fucked Anakin up pretty good, and now there's this guy going around with all this shit tied to him, keeping him alive, that's serving Palpatine and has Force power. Like, it's pretty obvious.
I think an argument could be made there, yeah.
Where it's like, Ahsoka didn't see what Obi-Wan did to Anakin.
No.
So her end of it was more like what happened to him.
Yeah.
Did he die in Order 66? What? She didn't have as concrete evidence that Obi-Wan does.
And I thought that was part of, like, the Star Wars lore, was that as far as the wider galaxy is concerned, Anakin Skywalker died in the Clone Wars or in Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
So no one knows that Anakin Skywalker, like the galaxy at large, does not know Anakin Skywalker is Darth Vader.
Yoda knew.
Yeah, the select few, but as far as everybody's concerned, Darth Vader is just a bad guy that showed up somewhere when the Empire took power, and Anakin Skywalker, the hero of the Republic, died during the Clone Wars.
Well, I just mean, like, if Yoda knew, I assume Obi-Wan has to.
Oh, you mean that Anakin survived?
Well, yeah, that Anakin is Darth Vader. Like, he knows. Like, Yoda knows.
How does Yoda know?
Tells Luke,
Yoda knows by, Return of the Jedi and Empire and stuff like that, but in the 20-year gap between Revenge of the Sith and those movies, does he know from the whole time?
Of those?
What?
Does the events of Empire and Return of the Jedi let Yoda know? Because I feel like it's right at the beginning of Jedi when Yoda tells him, like, yes, his father, or your father, he is.
I'm assuming by the time he goes to fight Darth Vader in Empire, Yoda knows that he's his dad. It's just information that he withheld from Luke.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I feel like Yoda always knew, is what I'm saying.
Well,
I don't feel like Yoda found out. I feel like Yoda just knew.
Well, that's, I guess, the question that I would have is when would Yoda find out? Either he knew from the Revenge of the Sith, which I don't know if he would know that either, unless he figures it out in the time between Revenge of the Sith and Empire.
Okay. I mean, he is Yoda.
Yeah.
So
I'm not saying he wouldn't be able to figure that out. I just don't know if he knew from the off that's what happened. I don't know how much, I assume that Yoda and Obi-Wan do not contact each other in this gap between Revenge of the Sith and
no.
New
Yoda looks
Hope.
pretty isolated.
Yeah.
And Tatooine seems pretty isolated, too.
So unless they're Force FaceTiming each other and stuff like that, I don't think they're talking to each other.
Force face.
For lack of a
But they
better term.
could
that's what
transfer
I'm-
information between Force ghosts, couldn't they?
Well, I mean, at the same time,
Talk to
I guess
one Force ghost that talks to another Jedi,
Well, even like Last Jedi has established that if you really wanted to, you can communicate through the Force to other people across the galaxy. So that could be a trick that they picked up at some point. And
Oh, true, yeah. But they were a dyad, though, so that's...
here we get all right. We're gonna ignore the sequel trilogy stuff for now.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I just...
The only other thing, like, so I love this trailer. I think it set the mood for exactly what the series should be and what I want it to be. I think it's awesome that way. Seeing the Inquisitors in live action, I think is a geek out moment for Star Wars fans. And for anyone that may be listening to this and asking what the hell is an Inquisitor, I'm going to point you to Star Wars Rebels, and I think you should definitely watch that show before this series comes out, because I think it would maybe help you set the stage for what's coming and what to expect from some of these guys. Either that, or when the show wraps and you get a taste for what these guys do and what they are, definitely go from here to Rebels, because I think that would be a good segue to get you warmed up.
And to be fair on that, I have to be honest. Like, I thought the Grand Inquisitor guy looked, I don't know, kind of like something out of Hellraiser.
Yeah.
And I feel like that it didn't work for me on like this trailer look at it. We'll see when in the final series what it really looks like overall.
Yeah.
But the look I got in this trailer, I was not thrilled with how the Grand Inquisitor looked. The other Inquisitors I thought looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
But that one specifically, I was like,
It is weird. Like there's some anime characters that make the jump to live action. I'm like, yes, finally we're here. This looks good. But there's other ones where like I get so married to the animated style and actor of the character. Like Ahsoka is still a leap for me to see Rosario Dawson in live action and not. I'm so tied to Ashley Eckstein as Ahsoka that it's still a little bit for me to get over that hump. And
it's the voice. Like it's,
yes,
you've got how long have we had Ahsoka voiced by Ashley Eckstein?
Right.
20 years.
And even
so it's
even the Grand Inquisitor, like when he talks, I want to hear Jason Isaacs' voice, and that already is starting to pull me out of it a little bit. So, I don't know. I'm optimistic. Like I think they're awesome characters and they're really cool, and I want to see what they do in live action. I swear to God, if they do that fucking lightsaber propeller bullshit that was in Rebels, I'm gonna riot because that stuff is asinine.
the
and
lightsaber copter.
It's gonna look stupid as shit in live action because it looked really shitty in animation too. But that's like my one pet
It was
peeve.
something that was like, it made no sense.
No.
And it still makes no sense. If they were able to do that with the Force, they don't need the lightsaber to do it. And if they're using the lightsaber to do it, it makes no sense because a lightsaber does not propel, like it doesn't, that's not how.
If there's one thing I could
lasers
change in
work.
Rebels, that's the one thing I would be like, nope, we're not doing this again. Take that out. Never going to see it again.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
But I don't know. I don't think I have anything else. I'm very excited. It's definitely a show we're going to talk about on the show whenever it comes out. From here on out, I'm on media blackout. I am not watching shit for this thing for the next 3 months. 3.5 months.
I didn't even need the trailer, honestly. You told me Obi-Wan series.
Yeah.
Like, I still remember, there's two things I want to say. One, I'll say first, I'm glad to see they got the actor back for Owen Lars.
Oh, yeah.
Great to see him back in the role, even though, like, how minor was that for somebody that wound up actually having a pretty decent acting career after that was there for, like, 2 seconds in Star Wars. Very cool to see them back.
I'm pretty sure they got the same
name.
actress for Aunt Beru as well.
I did not see her in the trailer.
I don't think she was in the trailer, but I think she's in the show.
Got it. I forget where I was going with the other part.
Oh, sorry, I screwed you up.
No, I screwed myself up. I was going down one lane and then I.
All right, we'll come back to you.
diverted.
Andy, you got anything else you want to... Any last thoughts for the trailer? Anything else you want us to touch on?
I don't think I have any last thoughts. I just know that I'm really excited to see what it's going to do, where it's going to go, how it's going to tie into everything.
Is it going to make you want to rewatch Rebels or try to finish Rebels between now and then?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. We'll check back. See where you're at.
I did remember.
Okay.
What I wanted to say is that I hope the series goes out on a better note than it came in on. So I can remember watching when they announced this. You know, the first time, like, people are in the room, nobody knows that there's an Obi-Wan series going to happen. Nobody knows Ewan's there. He doesn't say hello there when he comes out to the crowd. It's the perfect opportunity. He just shine the light on him and he just hello there. No, they didn't do that, and I'm hoping that they can go out on a better series than they came in on, because that was the perfect opportunity. You know, like, how much of bigger a crowd reaction you get if that happens?
They made up for it a little bit on their Twitter account. The official Obi-Wan Kenobi Twitter handle went live yesterday, and the first thing it said was hello there.
Well, that's what it should say. And there was probably 20,000 responses of General Kenobi. Just right under it, just General Grievous over and over and over again.
When I was scrolling through Twitter finding the trailer, I also stumbled across, maybe because I was clicking on Star Wars and Kenobi stuff, but there was another Twitter account that was literally, the handle was, "Is the Kenobi trailer out yet?" And they were posting daily, just no, it's not here. The day the trailer dropped, you can see all the tweets of their brain melting as they watch the trailer. And now they just have a pinned tweet that's in all caps that's basically like, "Yes, the trailer is out." So that was like really a fun thing to look at the other day when the trailer dropped.
I have seen so many of them like that. I have not seen this particular Twitter account. Now I have to look for it.
Yeah, definitely check it out and just scroll through the feed of tweets. Like you can see this person's brain melting as the trailer comes out. I got a kick out of it. All right, well, I guess that's it. I think did pretty close to a half hour, maybe a little bit over. So not bad for us, I think. we'll see if we can, if there's any other trailers that like we want to talk about that really kick us in the shit for a while. Maybe we'll try to get better at these.
I mean, when the Ahsoka trailer comes out, we're gonna have to talk about that.
That's true. Yeah, maybe we can.
don't know
Yeah,
when
if we can
that's
try
coming.
to get some of these shorter one-off episodes on just trailers and shoot the shit for a little bit, that might be something we try to do a little bit more often. It's difficult because some of the trailers it's like I don't want to see, so like it's got to be the first one or none because after the first one,
I mean, that's when it's valid to talk about it. You like, how often do you hear people going like, "Oh man, I can't wait to listen to that podcast about the third trailer that came out for this movie"? Like, it's just people don't give a shit at that point. They want to hear the first trailer, man.
usually when that third trailer comes out, it's like a week away from release, so there's no point in talking about that trailer.
That's my point.
All right. That is it for us. Thanks for tuning in. As always, you can find us on Facebook. Search Bry Guy and Super Friends or go to facebook.com/Bry Guy Super Friends. You can send us questions, comments, topic suggestions, any of that stuff there. Try to email us, bryguysuperfriends@gmail.com. I probably won't check it, but, send to your heart's content. Hit us up on Twitter, @BGSuperFriends. That we'll respond to, that we will see. Feel free to follow me on Twitch, Jedi Bry Guy, Jedi with an I, Bry with a Y. If we decide to do any live shows, we will do them there. If you want to check me out streaming whenever I decide to do that, that will be done there. And that's it for us. On behalf of Andy, Mike, and myself, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.